What if one's greatest fear wasn't of death or failure, but of nothing? Not the dark, but the void. Not being alone, but being disconnected from everything that ever mattered. Welcome to this 25th evolutionary pattern of change. Today, we're diving into the shadow of constriction. Constriction is not just mental or emotional. It lives in the breath, the diaphragm, the jaw, and the gut. It's that freeze response when we fear the unknown, when life feels like it might swallow us whole. And what do we do when this fear hits us? We either pretend it's not happening, which is the repressive nature of ignorance, or we push people away, become cold, shut down emotionally, and that's the reactive part of it. Before we get into more depth of it, I'll share with you a parable to really help understand this, and it's the parable of the lantern and the wind. At this point, please close your eyes and visualize the story I am about to share. There was once a child named Lumen who lived in a village where the wind never stopped howling. The wind was so wild that people built their homes underground, sealed tight to the sky. Lanterns were kept dim, hearts were kept quieter still. One day, Lumen found an old map tucked beneath a floor tile. It led to something called the Lantern of the Heart. No one believed it was real, but something inside Lumen stirred. Not quite curiosity, something older, like longing. So Lumen set off, through shadows, through forests, through fog. The wind screamed and tore at the edges of the coat. And yet still he walked. At last, Lumen came to a clearing where the wind fell silent. There, beneath the ancient tree, was a lantern, glowing with no fire. Just a soft, golden pulse. Lumen reached out to touch it, but fear arose. If I hold this light, will I be seen? Will the wind return? Will I be safe? And in that moment, Lumen curled in, held his breath, and walked away. Years passed, but the memory never left, because some part of Lumen remembered the truth. The wind was never the danger, the fear was. In this specific 25th evolutionary challenge is a mystery woven into our bones. It is not about doing, but undoing. Not about becoming someone, but allowing who we are beneath the armor to return. This shadow is ancient. It is cellular. It speaks through tightness in the diaphragm, shallow breathing, hesitation to trust, and fear of the void. This specific challenge shows us what happens when our emotional and energetic bodies constrict around fear, not obvious fear like danger, but the cellular one. The quote, what if there's nothing beyond this? What if love doesn't return? What if no one ever truly sees me? But this fear is evolutionary. Our bodies remember what it means to survive. Constriction, at its core, is the nervous system's instinctive response to uncertainty. When danger once roamed in the form of predators and or hunger, constriction saved us. It held the breath, locked the limbs, protected the heart. But over time, the environment changed, and the threats did too. Yet our wiring, the instinct to pull in, to hold tight, and distrust spaciousness, stayed. In this way, this 25th pattern of evolutionary change tells the story of our physical evolution, how protection became a pattern, and how the body became a container for ancestral fear. The complementary shadow to constriction is the shadow of seriousness. The fear of constriction, of fearing the void, is also in tandem with the fear of expressing one's innate genius. The shadow of seriousness and its fear of expressing one's innate genius leads to a repressive nature of becoming frigid, sort of like the cold in the 25th pattern of change. Its reactive nature is to become frivolous. So you can see how these fears of the void and fear of one's innate expression go hand in hand and dance and keep you in that loop of constriction and of seriousness. Those interested in doing deeper personal alchemy and wish to have a means of accelerating an understanding of shadow work. Over the last 3 to 5 years, I have collected a wealth of information from various esoteric systems, namely the I Ching, human design, gene keys, the chakra systems, and astrology, as well as integrating them with the human genetic code. And in this chart, you will find the details of all the different shadows, all the different fears, the specific fears that fuel those specific shadows, all 64, all in relationship to each codon. And in this wheel, you will find 4 legends on each corner because they can't all fit on one corner or one side to make it a nice, evenly balanced square. So here is the statements from each zodiac sign. So you can see. And then we have the legend for each chakra. You'll notice that there are more than 7, and because there are more than 7, because it is including the spleen as a means to detect threats. So there's an intuitional center there. There's also a center of willpower called the thyroid, because when we are born, the thyroid is literally almost, if not as big as our heart. So we have to accommodate that. And on the other side of this, you will also find an understanding of the I Ching, the hexagram system, the different trigrams, the relationship to the three-dimensional plane, the yin and the yang, and how each of the 6 lines are affiliated with different archetypes, thanks to the human design and or gene key system. And lastly, you will also find the human genetic sequence chart for all the amino acids associated with the human genetic code. But furthermore, you will also find in this chart all the different zodiacs, all 12, mixed with the human design gene key chart. Bear with me, my graphics card is not as fast as other people's on their computer, but you will see all the different fears, all the different shadows, and how they relate to each chakra in those colorful little dots. So you can see how it affects each energy center in the body and how each of them have their own repressive and reactive statements because there are 6 expressions in each challenge. Therefore, you will also find those 6 lines in there, all with their own repressive and reactive statements, their associated dilemmas from that specific shadow, which eventually will clear up, the gift from making the right choices regularly and practicing that gift with its own unique self-empowerment statement. So as you learn to vacate the trapped emotions such as sadness, fear, anger, shame, and guilt, and you reorient towards true self-alignment and honoring the intuition and inner authority that you possess, it will lead you towards the grace specific to that challenge. So if you would like to learn more about this and or you would like to download this file for your own personal means of translating your specific challenges in the human design system or in the gene key system, it is all there for you. All you have to go is to my website and download this PDF file. It's about 50 megabytes in size. I hope you enjoy this and hope you enjoy this brief glimpse into this massive PDF with all the details about all the specific challenges you'll have in your personal self-realization path. In order to find this PDF, a link will be found down below in the description of the YouTube video. When using that elaborate and vast chart of information, you can use the human design apps found in the App Store on Google Play so that you can choose whichever speaks to you most. And as you choose whichever human design app works best for you, you can then use that towards the chart. So you get your information and your numbers. And then after that, you can use the chart as reference. For example, I use the human design app, which helps me see the specific numbers that I need to see in the top right-hand corner. The red are the unconscious. These are the ones that were imprinted when the soul decided to remain anchored in the body about 90 days before you were born, between the second and the third trimester. The black numbers indicate the conscious, more aware challenges that you know you have in your current life, based on your survival challenges and your adversities currently going on in your life. You can also find that same application in the Human Design App Store for iPhone and or iOS before you start using the chart that you have purchased online. Thank you very much. And if you ever need more information on this and you wanted a free consultation in understanding the current challenges in your life and how it relates to human design, feel free to reach out through the links below. You can also visit thegenekeys.com. There, you will also find a different kind of chart. It relates to the same challenges and same numerical sequences as found in the I Ching and Human Design. And there you'll be able to find a free profile link where you can then enter in your personal information in this field and then have a look at your specific gene key profiles and understand your genus sequence, your Venus sequence in opening up your heart, your love sequence, prosperity, and finding inner harmony. Thank you for watching this short introduction into the Wheel of Evolutionary Change and the chart that I've shown you in brief. And hopefully through those apps and through this PDF, you will find a way to decode the challenges you face and understand how to make the best choices for you and everyone you were meant to impact positively in your life. Now back to the shadow work and the evolutionary change in this video. And now back to the shadow of constriction and the fear of the void and its path to universal love. But now the story is shifting. Constriction doesn't just live in our muscles, it lives in our beliefs. That quote, that love must be earned, that safety only comes with control, that if we open our hearts, something will be taken. These beliefs are not yours alone. They are collective. They are part of the collective of consciousness, passed down from generations of wounded trust. Yet within the same code that locks the heart is the key, acceptance. Not as a concept, not even as forgiveness, but as a felt experience to return to breath and saying yes to this moment, even when it trembles. And at the end of that trembling lives a grace. This grace, the divine gift of this specific challenge, is not earned. It arrives only when there's nothing left to resist. And that grace is called universal love. This is not a call to fix oneself. This 25th evolutionary portal of change is not about becoming better. It's about becoming real, becoming soft enough to receive. There is no timeline for your heart to open. Only presence, only breath, and only love is waiting for you. If you appreciated the content in this video, hit the like button. I really do appreciate it. And if you're really enjoying the series, feel free to subscribe. Down below in the description, you'll find a good amount of resources that you can tap into, including an email address that you can contact me directly to schedule a free 45-minute consultation. Through my website, you'll also find some other resources, especially links to resources that I share on my meetup groups. Those three meetup groups are divination systems, like the one I'm getting involved with in this shadow series today, emotional intelligence and mastery, so that one can understand how one is feeling, the emotions that come forward, the questions that they have to offer, and how you can tap into your true self guidance to use those emotions to your benevolent manifestations. The next one is emotional trauma release group, which is to help you release unprocessed emotions so you can create vacancies in your field of consciousness that you can put something else more nourishing to your soul in there instead. Thank you for watching this video in its entirety. I look forward to providing you more content in the future. God bless you all on your journey. Namaste and good life to you all.